These young Kenyans have turned out for a concert aimed at getting them out to vote. The country's biggest music acts are there, and it's all fronted by a comedy group called Redykyulass. Politics here is dominated by the old men whose power has been based on patronage, tribal loyalty, and for decades, graft. With an election looming, these comedians are determined to bring a fresh generation into Kenyan politics, using something you don't hear much in the offices of the political class: laughter. They first made their names in political satire under the one-party regime of President Moi. But they continue to lampoon the current President Kibaki and his controversial wife, Lucy.
He's a guy who doesn't, nothing worries him. There's no rush. To him, we might be seated right here, and if he was here, a bomb explodes, he'll go like, what is the hurry? That is just a bomb. There's nothing much. Don't worry. We will go on. It's just a bomb. Let those who are running away run. They don't know where they are going. We are here. We knew we came here to do what we are doing here. Even if it's a bomb, we will still do what we are doing here without that bomb here. That's the kind of guy he is.
I landed the unenviable role of playing the First Lady of Kenya. And I'll go into character.
What did you say? Yep.
Okay, now.
I said, you, who gave you permission to be recording that? You think here you are at where you think, who told you my home is a studio? Yeah.
What we get to do is make-believe. It's make-believe comedy, actually, whereby we get into character, and not only just get into character, we will get the right costumes, get the right props. Take an example. When we went for the Safari Sevens rugby tournament, when the helicopter came down, people actually were fooled that it's actually the president himself who's come here.
This is the spoof that helped make Redykyulass household names in Kenya, momentarily fooling the crowd and the press into thinking they were the real thing.
I want to hear all the rugby fans say, oh yeah! Yeah!
So she said, I can play rugby. Who is your mother? He's trying to encourage the Kenyan team. This is how to play rugby. So she took them and made a try with Walter, which the crowd liked. The guys who watched on the TV liked. She didn't like it.
President Kibaki faces an election in December. He was elected on a tide of hope in 2002, and he's still popular. But there's also disillusionment with the pace of change, the state of democracy, and continuing corruption. Young Kenyans speak of feeling stuck.
We've been out there talking to young Kenyans, just asking them, realize that you need to vote, because by voting, you're putting in power the person who's going to be making decisions about your life today and tomorrow in the future.
Even you, you can be an MP. Your vote is your power. Your vote is your power. Unaweza. Jaribu bahati yako.
We are redefining politics to you. You have known politics to be, when it's politics time, we go out there, heckle, carry the biggest man with the biggest tummy and make sure he's voted in. And in the process, we can fight. Let's fight. Let's beat up each other because we believe anyone who does not belong to our camp is an enemy. And what we're saying to them is politics is a game of interests. go out there and push your interests, push your agenda as a young Kenyan.
The men who work Nairobi's ever-present minibuses are the kind of people Redykyulass have to reach.
Yes, I work here as a graffiti artist. Basically what we do, a guy comes with matatu, the minibuses. We do some decorations for him. He pays us. Then that's how we earn our living mostly. I have a voter's card, but I had a problem during the previous election because I couldn't vote. Though I had the voter's card, but my name wasn't on the register. I don't know why. I don't know what happened that time round. This time round, I have to vote. Even though it's going to be a one vote, it still can make a difference. So I'll have to vote. Definitely have to vote. Kenya has to change. It has to change. But the change itself, it's hard to come by because the same guys who were in the office previously, the same guys who want to be voted in again. When they get in the power, they'll turn back to the old ways. They have to bribe some of the younger guys to vote for them. So corruption starts with them, they now translate to the other guys. So if change has to come, we have to change everything else, from the high office until down. So we should not be recycling the politicians or the ministers. We should be getting some new guys, some new young guys, or some guys who have never been there. At least we can give them a shot at that time. Kenya damn. Proud to be Kenyan.
Redykyulass is heavily inspired by the politics of the day.
Where is the editor of this newspaper?
When the First Lady raided the office of Kenya's national newspaper, this was the Redykyulass response.
We are having a good time satirizing some grumpy old men.
Where is the editor?
But there is a serious side to it, because the moment you satirize it, the society can step back and see, actually, we thought we were getting change out of the 2002 elections. But wait a minute, what kind of change did we get? Is it fundamental? Is it beneficial to I as a citizen?
You people want to portray us as bad people.
So here we are as young Kenyans. Are we going to sit back and let that happen? Or are we going to go out there? And only then will change happen.
The chances of a youthful person winning an election, particularly a presidential one, is very, very remote. The general public try to trust more elderly people, the gray hair, the big buried type of people, more than they trust the youth, okay? We probably, just like any other society, worship wealth and material being so much. So people tried to support the people who are well endowed financially, okay? We have had in the past the culture of handouts, So the handouts here will be for votes, for all kinds of favors. Because of that, people try to feel, wow, let me support the elderly person because he's got more resources, and if I go to him, I've got a problem, a hospital bill that I need to pay, I'm likely to get help. As opposed to a young person who is not well-resourced and, probably the much he would or she would do is to give me ideas.
This is Nameless. One of the artists will be performing, and basically the youth laughing.
We'll be going for the concert. We have to vote. We have to be there. We have to support our guys. We have to support our people, kabisa.
I wish I could be your saliva so that I could taste your lips. I envy vile inakushika kwamba kwa kweli manzi umebarikiwa, ndio maana tunaimba. I wish I could be your shoe.
Saturday, vijana tukusuke kwa lusaka. Utuonyeshe, even you, hata wewe, even you, hata upande naona, you can be an MP. Your vote is your power. Your vote is your power. Mzee unaweza. Unaweza jaribu bahati yako. Ongea na vijana vizuri.
You cannot be in this electioneering process if you don't have a voter's card. Let's start there. The voter's card is the instrument that you're going to put someone in power. So basically, you are employing the people who are going into your civic council, you're employing the people who are going into the parliament, you're even employing the president. So first understand what it is he has to do for you. If you know what he has to do for you, you can demand that of him before you give him your vote. And then thirdly, make sure that you go and vote. On the day of elections, go out there and make sure you cast your vote. And cast your vote for the person who is pushing your agenda.
I need some cash money. Can you feel me?
Anne and Jerry makes the equivalent of £37 a month braiding hair in a local market. The last time she tried to vote, there was a problem. You need an ID in order to get a voter's card.
Started shouting. You are hostage.
I went to look for an
Everybody
ID.
go to the gym.
I just got harassed, so I left it. They asked for a birth or a school certificate.
At 9:50 local time.
The thing is,
the
my
police
dad died
received
and we
a-
had a fallout with his family. There's too much bad blood to go back there to get those documents.
Sasa uko ni grudge. Nikienda huko itakuwa mambo mbaya. Kwa nini? Amrudi hata baadaye.
Out of 33 million Kenyans, only 6 million voted in the last general election. Statistics are telling us that there are over 17 million young Kenyans who are eligible to vote. To register as a voter, you need an ID card. But not all of the 17 million have an ID card. Their voice can make the difference.
Anne has come to the concert looking for answers, and the story she has to tell is of the typical Kenyan problems.
Sasa venye niliona wameniambia nikienda huko niende na pesa za kulipa ID. Niko na doze yenye
They told me to give them a bribe when I wanted an ID. But I have rent to pay and a child to look after, so I left it. Where are the ones we voted for who were to fight for us? The helpless.
Nikasema sawa. Na sasa hii sinanga ID mpaka wa sasa hivi. Unajua sasa hiyo ni kabla nitoke hapo niende. Kwa hivyo mwezi nisaidie venye nitapata.
So you guys can't help me? I want to vote. I can't vote empty-handed. The man helped me in there and told me all the steps to take to get one. But if I'm not successful, he won't be here to ask again, will he?
I think what makes Redykyulass special is that Redykyulass have been at the forefront of increasing democratic space for a lot of Kenyans. I think Redykyulass has smashed all the taboos and the beliefs and the mystique and whatever it was that surrounds the politics. I remember the former president saying very many times that I know what is best for you as your president. And, you know, they rubbished all that.
My first job that I was given by Redykyulass as a team was to play the character of our president.
Former president.
Former president. We would straight away now break the character, agree on what angles, agree on what points are going to be done,
and that will definitely make what you call
the president has difficulty in thinking ahead, so he kind of gets stuck. And then divert the attention.
Yeah. Well, they played the character of the former president so well. It was amazing, and actually, regardless of what else we were doing as Redykyulass, there was satire in there, there was political comedy, we were doing social comedy, but the political comedy was our claim to fame. He played it so well that today there are small kids in Kenya who can never quite draw the line between the former president and Walter.
Na hiyo wadiana DJ hiyo CD tuanguke ndombolo hapa.
Who is imitating who? There is a question right now on radio, running on radio, where one kid says that their favorite politician in Kenya is President Moi because he dances dombolo. But the president has never danced. Walter danced on Redykyulass. But to this kid, Walter was the president.
I think the first time they did that, everybody was just shocked. How can they do that? You know, for the life of me, I cannot believe that they did that unchallenged for as long as they did.
But there are people who are watching it out there critically. And it was at a time where you would not even be caught in public talking openly or criticizing the president.
You had to be careful. If somebody had you mention, you know, the president's name adversely, so to speak, you could get into all sorts of trouble. And that was the general fear amongst everybody. And I think that was the biggest pull for Redykyulass on TV, that, you know, they came out and they helped us as a nation to confront our fears.
I guess the biggest learning that we've got as a team, and for anyone who wants to do something, is staying focused to your laid out objective, which was to entertain.
We never performed for any political function. It was all about entertainment.
Yeah.
Our own lawyers told us, actually, we've gone through the laws. There's no way you can take a comedian seriously. The guy is a registered comedian. How can you go to court and say, seriously,
that would be a skit,
that this comedian did that? That would be the best skit. So I think legally we were fine, and we are still fine.
People thought, if Redykyulass can get Moi dancing dombolo, this is a new era. We can now actually openly talk about the president.
They made Kenyans laugh about these things, and after laughing about this thing, you actually sit back and think about it and say, what the hell, I can do something about this, you know.
So as much as we have comedy or skits on the leaders, it actually is a reflection of what the Kenyan society is today, because these leaders actually did not elect themselves. So you're throwing it back at Kenyans and telling them, hey, look at the leaders you're electing into office.
The one and only Jua Kale! Aye, aye, aye!
The concert is the high point of an 18-month campaign, which has covered all parts of the country. But there's an edge to this. It's more than entertainment. The banner says, wake up, it's your time. What Redykyulass did to Moi, they could do to the present crop of Kenya's leaders.
Nimekuwa confused. Nimekuja hapa kwa sababu nilisomea hii Nairobi hii. Hii Nairobi nikasoma nikaambiwa I'm a future leader of tomorrow. Alafu nikasoma nikapatiwa plus school mimi nikaambiwa mimi ni future leader of tomorrow awe na nguvu. Nikaenda nikasoma mpaka university. Nikaambiwa mimi ni bright future leader of. Nikaendelea nikaenda nikapata bibi. Nikaambiwa now you are a mature bright future leader of. Alafu mazini nikazaa toi. Awaniongeleshi tena wanaongesha toi wangu weka kando. You're the future leader of tomorrow.
The comedians, the DJs and the rappers speak for a generation that want to see change happen fast. And this is the thing they're going to use to make it happen. A voting card.
Tumechoka na wazee babu, ni kura yako ndio fimbo yako, usiwe mnyonge. 1, 2, 3, 4. Sweetie, sweetie banana, sweetie banana.
The concerts have been a massive success. Youth voter registration is up in the areas where the campaign has been. But it's not over yet. Their next challenge is to encourage the young people of Kenya to put themselves forward for leadership.
Below catwalk, is enemies and what else to